What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles. You are listening to Lyles Movie Files. Joining me tonight is the one and only little brother. How are you on this fine evening?
I'm groovy. How are you, bro?
Dude, I'm still hyped up. I went to see F9, the Fast Saga. I kind of feel a little funny way because every time I want to just say Fast and Furious 9, Fast 9, I think about my computer, keyboard, and F9. But the movie, oh my gracious. You know, this franchise it's like the Jason Voorhees of action, thriller, let's throw everything against the wall, and oh my gosh, look at all the stuff that's stuck. This thing is insane. I mean, in the first 15 minutes, it's like, no, that couldn't happen. That's not possible. Nope, there's no way that would be the case. What? He should be dead. And throughout all that, I'm sitting there going, I don't care. I don't care. More. Let's get more. It's hurt.
I saw them go up against a tank with exotic rear-wheel drive cars on ice. And they were good. So I think we're kind of like, get on.
I'm trying to think, what was the point of the franchise where it was like, oh, okay, we don't need to worry about realism anymore. Just have a good time. Was it when Dom and Brian leaped off the bridge in Fast 5?
No, I actually think not ever done. I might have done a cliff jump once or twice. I'm not psycho enough to do that kind of cliff jump. It was literally when they were in Brazil, again, Fast 5, where they literally were like destroying the whole city with the ball.
Yeah,
and
the cables held together. I think maybe that was the part where it was like, yeah, unless they wrapped it with duct tape, that shouldn't be possible.
I mean, at some point, those cables can't possibly survive that.
No, because nothing else was surviving.
Because it's like they were taking off basically like first floor on buildings. And it wasn't like the buildings, like, we know, hey, you take out the first floor, the whole dang building. So there shouldn't have been any more travel behind them. It's like, the building should just all came down and there should have been no more car race. And they should have been the most wanted terrorists in Brazil ever.
Ever. We can't go back to Brazil. It's like Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of broke Harlem, so yeah. Can't go back to Brazil. But this one, I can speak freely on a Fast and Furious 8 spoiler. My biggest problem with that was how they did William's mom with Elena, where they killed off my girl who had been holding it down since Fast 5. I know that helped create some beef with Cypher, but I'm like, why do we have to kill her off just so Dom could get custody of Brian? Kind of like that. And I just felt like that was the one thing they could have not done, and it would have been okay. Now, granted, we have seen at least two characters we thought were dead miraculously still be around. So maybe Cypher used rubber bullets and just knocked her out really hard. I am now, though, thinking we never saw Giselle's body. And maybe Giselle was just like Ian and just in the hospital for a really long time recuperating. So maybe Fast 10 will have the return of Giselle.
Jeff, I hate to say this, but I'm pretty sure she got vacuumed into a jet airplane. I think they kind of saw that.
Maybe the car stopped it. Maybe.
Could happen. Hey, Han's dead. It's like, he's literally pinned up under his chair. Gas tank explodes. There's no 40-minute lag time where a secret agent can miraculously take him out of the car.
The best part of this movie is they act like they wrote this stuff like that was the way it's supposed to go all along, and it's like, yeah, okay, and it's really like my part of my brain is still like, no, no, come on, nah. But the majority is like, cool, yeah, that makes sense. I'm down with it.
Hey, the Fast and Furious franchise very much goes with the, if we write an explanation, it does not have to be perfect.
Yep.
We will explain our logical ridiculousness. I mean, if you buy it, we're cool. But if you don't, it's probably in the franchise for you.
And I feel like as a viewer who grew up watching soap operas with my grandmother, I'm fine just as long as you respect me enough to take the time to come up with a ridiculously convoluted explanation. I feel like you took some time. I'm good with that.
He might have initially got his head cut off. The surgeon actually put it on after they put his head on ice and then put it right back on.
Yeah, it's okay. It works. Yeah. Or they just do flash science where they just start saying a bunch of terms that don't make any sense. Or something.
Algorithm.
Yeah. But Han coming back, so needed. Because Han was such a cool character. I always loved the fact that Han played into zero Asian stereotypes. He wasn't the tech expert. He wasn't the math whiz. He wasn't super great at martial arts. He was just a regular dude. He was like by far the coolest dude of Dom's crew. And he had his snacks, and he was just like, yes, Han is cool. More Han.
He had his little quirks about the smoking, but it's like, if you did not hate, I mean, like I said, Tokyo Drift is a fun movie. But Dom, Han, he was like, yeah, I hang out with that dude. He's cool. Like, it was just cool.
And one other thing that I really liked about this movie, hopefully I can find some time to write about it, is how much the Fast and Furious franchise pivoted right when it became this thing of, hey, let's make our movies this combined shared universe. Like, Fast and Furious started before Marvel Cinematic Universe, but when Fast 5, I think it was Fast 5, when that came out, that was when they started making this change of wait a second, we can do this too. I always think, we go on so long about DC. Yeah, Fast and Furious came out in 2009. And that was right after Iron Man and Incredible Hulk. And I don't think they had anything in 2009. I think 2010 was when we got Iron Man 2. So they got a little sample of like, oh, okay. And then from that point on, they started going, all right, cool. Here's what we're going to do. With Fast 5 in 2011, before the first Avengers, we're going to put in end credits to tease the next movie. So many other movie companies are like, we don't need to do that. We don't need to copy Marvel. They're like, watches. So they did that. They started intersecting characters and plot lines. So in Fast 5, when Han is somehow still alive, it's like, what? How is this happening? So they make this continuity in their own universe where you're engaged in the story and it's kind of out of order how we've been watching them, but it creates a larger narrative where we're filling in the blanks with Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, and Furious 7, where it's like, how is all of this stuff connected? And when the motto of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was it's all connected, that's what the Fast and Furious franchise started doing. They started connecting everything. And characters that we saw in one movie, we see them again. We'd see them pop up later, even if it's just a really short cameo, where it's like, okay, I remember my man from that one. And they just kept randomly doing this. And Fast F9 is another great example of that, where it's just like, here are more nods, here are more Easter eggs, here's more references to what's come before. And just like with the non-movie sequel trilogies of the Disney-era Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people love this stuff. They eat up all the ties to different things. Like, oh, okay, this ties into this show, this ties into this character, this ties into this movie. Perfect. I'm all about it. When I saw Jarvis from Agent Carter in Endgame, I was like, oh, that's so cool. It didn't mean anything to anybody who wasn't watching Agent Carter, but it was a cool little nod for people who went deep diving into the Marvel Universe. And Fast and Furious has done that better than any other franchise besides, they were like, oh, this is the new trend. We're going to do this now, too. And I think it's worked out really well for them to the tune of $6 billion.
That one's a proof is in the pudding. Like we don't have to be, can be almost as ridiculous as a Marvel movie without actually having superheroes, we will make money on this. This is not a. If they make money, we can't make money.
Exactly. Yeah. That's really it. It's like no one else felt like, yeah, we can't do that because they did it. And they were like, well, why? We can do that too. And we're gonna take our characters who have been these street racers, kind of doing some action stuff with Fast and Furious, and we're just gonna make them superheroes without powers. And they do just as much ridiculous things as we've seen in some of these Marvel movies, and people love it. And there's no, it's a little bit too unrealistic. I mean, these are people who watch the Marvel films and like, yes, and they're fun. They know their audience and they deliver what the audience wants.
Like ridiculous, and I think we now accept ridiculous is baked in the Fast and Furious cake. And you're good with it. It's like you keep eating.
And
hey, y'all got some yellow cake, white cake, chocolate cake, whatever. Y'all just put the cake in front of us. We got. Oh, there's ridiculous in here. Oh, okay, good. Good to see the usual flavor still here.
Right. And here's an extra topping of ridiculous for you.
Wow. They sprinkled all over ridiculous. Wow, perfect.
Would you want a drink of absurdity too? Why, yes, I do. And it tastes really good.
I didn't know I needed absurd, but yes, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I do. John Cena was really good in this too. I feel like I've seen him in a lot of movies at this point, but I don't feel like I've seen this version of John Cena in a movie, and I want to see more of this take of Cena.
Okay. Is that because... I'm trying to think of how to... I don't know much of John Cena's movie catalog. Is this because John Cena played a villain and we're used to kind of seeing John Cena as not the villain?
I think it's more because his character has greater depth than I'm used to seeing in anything that he does. Excuse me, whether that's...
Green 5.
Huh?
Green 5.
Yeah, like that's a movie where it's like, okay, it's so by the numbers, and it's like, okay, yeah, you can do that just fine. But in this one, he had some nuance to his character. He had layers where it was like, oh, okay, not everything's what we thought with this guy. And of course, he is the real physical presence, so he doesn't look like a chump, and he can go toe to toe with Vin Diesel in the same way that Dwayne Johnson did. Now, the only thing now, I'm like, well, do we need Hobbs back? Yes. But will we get Hobbs back if John Cena returns?
I mean, it's funny, like, Dwayne and Vin Diesel's beef actually made him so he had to have a spinoff, but it's almost like, I don't know if I need that quote-unquote abundance of riches. Like, hey, he's good. I love Ross' character in the show, but I don't necessarily, almost some time away might be good for him, for his character, like, because he shouldn't be part of the crew, but when he comes back, like, when Kurt Russell's calls, yeah, that might be even cooler, so.
I did feel like I didn't miss him so much in this one. It was more of a, well, let's get the whole gang in here, as opposed to, this movie would be so much better if Hobbs was here. So, yeah. Now, box office analysts are hoping that F9 triggers the summer blockbuster season. We've had A Quiet Place. It did a little less than 60 million. Pretty good. It's now at 225 million domestically, which is good. No, I'm sorry, that's worldwide. And that's okay, but the pandemic is still very much prevalent to people not wanting to go to theaters. People not sure if their theaters are open, and just various restrictions. F9 is going to have a window, 45-day window, where it's in theaters, and then it's going to get to premium video on demand. Having seen this on the big screen, I think this is a movie, and I watched it with Dolby, like super surround, so when the cars are rolling and all this stuff, I could feel the rumble in my chair. That's great for a movie like that.
Not Wolverine Origins or whatever that is.
Gosh, that was Logan we saw that. That was awful on so many levels. But yeah. But this one actually warranted it. And it was cool and it was fun. It was like, yes. So if you go to the movie theaters, try to get that kind of theater experience where you can get the rumbles of everything because there is plenty. And you won't get a headache because they don't just overload it, but it's just enough to be exciting. So what do you think here? They're hoping it'll make $70 million to open worldwide. I'm sorry, internationally. It's earned $300 million this weekend. It should hit $400 million. Do you think this is going to be what gets people back to theaters and we see the return of normal box office now?
Well, here's, back to slight Debbie Downer. But there are new, places that are not taking vaccine in the U.S., their numbers are going up, kind of what you expect, because COVID truly didn't go anywhere. But those aren't, I don't do the box office numbers by state, but I don't think those are the places that are necessarily needing to go see Fast and Furious. I think you have East Coast and the West Coast are pretty good. So I think your numbers are going to be pretty. I think that's going to be the first true blockbuster this summer. I think it'll set real well for Black Widow too.
Hey, way to segue right into it. So the early reviews of Black Widow are in, and critics are saying this is one of the best standalone Marvel Studio films, period. I'm excited about that because Black Widow deserved her good movie after missing out. And you sent me the note that, yes, this is set in between Civil War and Infinity War. And I was like, hey, remember I said that a long time ago because she's wearing the green jacket that her sister's wearing in Infinity War. And I bet that may have something to do with her blonde hair as well.
We're correct.
Yeah, so that works out pretty well, and that's cool. But, yeah, if Black Widow's a hit, my only thing is, are they going to be like, shoot, we should have killed off Natasha? Gunner, welcome to the party. What do you think?
That's exactly what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'm like, watch this movie hit big, especially with the reopening, and it's supposed to be a good movie, and everybody's supposed to anticipating it, and it's a Marvel movie no matter what. They're going to be like, we're going to have to do the alternative universe situation or a time variant situation. I don't know, one of the two. Something got to give.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. Because I think they've set up, from just knowing comic books, a succession plan.
Of course.
But I also feel like Natasha always was a key component to these movies. And because she didn't get her own movies before, I almost feel like she could earn a little bit more. Now, I know she was in Iron Man 2, Winter Soldier, Civil War, the 4 Avengers movies. So she's been in as many movies as Robert Downey Jr. But I'm still like, oh man, we can use more. Maybe we'll get a flashback of her in Hawkeye, which if we wanted to get her back in the fold somehow, that would be a good avenue to do that. Where they could talk about their trip in Bangladesh.
Budapest.
I was like, wait a second, Bangladesh.
Yeah, I was like, that wasn't. Yeah.
That's not right. Yeah. But Black Widow could be the one that shakes up the box office and gets it going along with F9. Now, the thing is, there's not a lot of movies slated to do much after that because everybody was like, yeah, we're not trying that. We crashed and burned on that in 2020. We're going to wait a little bit longer. So we're going to have an onslaught of movies coming in the fall, which means it's going to be a thing of no repeat box office champ, just the new one every week. I'm not sure if that's a bad thing, but we're still getting a lot of films going direct to on-demand, to premium service. Now, if there's anything that hurts Black Widow, is that the same day it's in theaters, you can watch it on Disney Plus if you chalk up $30. Now, if you would go to the movies with anyone else, that's $30. So it's kind of this thing of, well, don't watch it at home, don't want to watch it there. Because I can tell you, when I watched F9, it was a press-only thing. But when we saw A Quiet Place 2, I was like, oh my gosh, I hate the movies again. I just want to be home and watch them on my own without the crying baby, without people putting on their cell phone just because, just the whole deal. It's like, ugh, the stupidly overpriced food, the seats where I'm like, can't get comfortable. Like, whew.
Where'd you go, by the way? Because,
Well, we saw Quiet
neighborhoods matter. I'll just say it like that.
They do. But I don't like having to go out of my way to watch a movie. I don't like going past 5 movie theaters to get to one that won't have that experience. Especially in a semi-pandemic era.
Right.
Jace, what do you think?
I think you, even with the premium access, I think this is one, if you get the people looking up, this is one premium access would truly be the jump off point, because it'd be like, you'd actually have people who would go to the movies and have like 5 of their boys or, girlfriend and dates. I think most of them are probably going to be like, I'll watch this over my house and then, call you after I've watched it. We can lie. I mean, this might be a situation where some of the new technology is like, I'll watch it on screen with you while we watch the whole movie, and we can talk like we want to.
No, that's an interesting point. And also the people, if it's as good as we think, and because there's been a dearth of blockbusters, maybe people go to theaters and then go, y'all want to watch it again, but I'll just watch it at home. I'll pay the 30.
Right. I'll pay another 30. I got to pay another $30 anyway.
Right.
To watch it now. Right.
So I'll just do that. And that way I can watch it whenever I want to.
Especially after all of us got burned by Wonder Woman 1984. If we'd actually went to theaters and saw that, we'd have been like, we deserve any bad that comes to us for being stupid enough to go see this movie.
That's not true. That movie looked like it was going to be good. It wasn't one of those things of like, this doesn't look great. It wasn't corny.
We all had high hopes. I was like, I'm down. Let's go. And then after the first 15 minutes, you're like,
no, the first 15 minutes were kind of dope. It was like everything after that.
After the first 15 minutes. Yeah. I was like, wait, okay, Anyways, I don't know, man. I know that, those of us that will have a theater in their house while the or theater plus premium on your apps or whatever are going to be I don't know. It's going to be harder once I have a theater in my house. I know how many people are going to have theaters in their house or like the big screens in their house. But the fact that they're still selling means that there's a good amount of people that are going to have it. So I'm curious to see what those numbers will be for those that, or even people that will put one somewhere in there. You know what I mean? All you have to do is have a spare bedroom at this point, right? So once you put the screen in there, I wonder if this is going to push. I'm just thinking economically, like, or well-roundedly economically, whereas like, is this going to push the home theater thing again?
I'm curious what it's going to be like for people who've been a year out of movie theaters that go back and go, ugh, this sucks. I don't like this anymore.
Exactly.
I'm going
to make this bedroom.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think we'll see people go back. But I'm curious, not because of the quality of movie, just because of the quality of movies, the experience with the cost,
right.
concessions, the audience, and sometimes that's good, but more often than not, it's not great. And just that comfort level when you've been watching Netflix movies. Oh, I need to use the bathroom. Pause. I'll be right back.
Right.
Which you can't do at a movie theater. You can't go, hey, can y'all press pause real fast? I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see also, the Cinemarks and all them, the Cinebistros of the world, if they're still open. Some of them will reopen, I'm sure, of the world that have already, like, we used to go to those theaters and it wasn't as packed unless it was a blockbuster. And even then people knew how to act because you're paying $50 plus, you know what I mean, to eat and watch the movie with your date or with your peoples. So, the little economic weed out process that might actually, I feel like those would be successful if they came back out. I don't know about the regular theaters anymore, man, just for the exact reason you said.
But I'm experience. Also about what will happen with those where they have the big lavish deals where you go and pick up your popcorn. Like it's just they make it and they just put out a whole line. Are they just gonna have that like it's the buffet style, or they're gonna make changes? Because you've been to some places, at least I have lately, where it's like, yeah, now that's not a thing anymore, and we're not doing this. We went to Bob Evans, and Bob Evans, they have that little area where you can have that kind of old school diner bar experience where you can just sit up there. That's gone. I mean, it's still there, but you can't sit there and hang out and talk to the cooks and the waitresses and all that stuff right there. And I'm curious what they're going to do for those kind of places with the movie experience. Like, will I be able to get all my candy just from this, or will I need to have somebody hand it to me? Anyway, we're talking about that. Now, with Disney Plus, that streaming service is just killing all expectations and everything else. Kevin Feige said there's still no plans to release WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I presume Loki, on Blu-ray. Does this mean people are going to have to go to Comic Cons to pick up the not official DVD and not official Blu-ray of said shows because they want to watch them on their TVs that don't have Disney Plus?
Speaking as somebody who has picked up one or two unofficial copies of some TV shows from a con, I think because you're getting like Blu-ray quality from a streaming service that you can put on your phone, you can put on all your smart TVs. There's no rush to do that. Like I'm be honest. Like I bought like Legion of Superheroes because there was no streaming place to have it. There was no. They didn't have it on DVD or anything like that, so I bought something like that. But then it went on, Disney Plus. It was like, okay, I don't need this anymore. Now,
Legion didn't come on Disney Plus. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the live action show or Legion of Superheroes?
Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah. Now, I know that was...
that's on, what is it?
HBO, right?
Max.
Frontier.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, no, DC's on HBO, man.
Yeah. So again, if they start doing hey, we're cycling this off, then you're like, okay, I gave y'all a chance. I really stopped buying Blu-rays for a little bit. But if you guys do this, I mean, like basically we're moving stuff off, we're cycling back and forth. Like that'll be the point. Okay, we're going back to buying Blu-rays. At least those of us who've been burned like that before.
And I've been burned like that before, where I was like, "Yo, I'm buying these," and I still every now and then pick up the newest whatever. I think the last one I got is I'm looking at the shelf now. The last one I got was Red Sun. Yeah, I'm like this Red Sun Superman because I was scared that at the time DC Universe app would be too late in carrying it and all that mess. Remember they used to be late to the party. And then everything moved to HBO Max and they're a little faster, I think. So that's pretty cool. So, and they're still there. So I'm kind of like, I don't really need to get them. I've risked that. And I feel like Disney Plus is the same way. I mean, they got gargoyles, for God's sakes. They're not cycling things off. They got the crappiest Spider-Man ever, the Spider-Man Unlimited show. Crappiest show ever. They still have that. It only lasted one season. They still have that. So I have I don't think they're going to pull a Netflix who took off Spider-Verse, by the way. So I had to actually buy that. Yeah.
Did DC Universe ever even get Red Sun Superman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Finally did. And it's on HBO Max as well. So yeah.
I just really think they missed the biggest part was not having same day releases, because I thought that was going to be their hook, and I was like, oh, that was my hook for
that was going to be perfect, right?
And then they decided like, no, we're going to have like a 90-day delay. It's like
something like that, right? Like I was like, that's dumb. At this point, I might as well just go buy this and turn off this $7.99 thing.
Which a lot of people ended up doing. Okay.
Which a lot of people ended up doing. I mean, if you still got the digital comics, cool, but we're old, so I need to smell it. I need to smell my comics.
I mean,
call me a old fogey who, like the old cats that like to smell the vinyl.
Pages, I need to put the disc in. I know that's not what the cool kids do anymore, but I'm too traditional on that. So I'm kind of like, okay.
And then I'm so so weird with it. I'll buy the Blu-ray combo set, stick it on my Apple TV as well. So now I have and it's a good thing. The one thing that will lure you to the DVD was the Death in the Family one, where you could only choose your own adventure on the Blu-ray and DVD. When you watch it on all the digital platforms, even when you take it off of it was just like, why am I watching all these shorts? Some of them are cool, but come on.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Phantom Stranger, really? I don't need the 70s version of Phantom Stranger. Thanks.
I like that. I thought it was cool. It had Gary Cole doing the voice. It was cool.
Cool, but exactly when I found out, I can't just watch it in my bed in the digital copy. I have to literally go downstairs.
That was
lazy. I was being lazy. I don't want to go downstairs and pick up the DVD and watch it in my bed, or Blu-ray and put it in my bed. So I was very happy that at least that was that could be a draw too. If people, I was not watching those shorts.
Yeah. That was
almost took it off of that. I was like, what?
Yeah. Speaking of DC Warner Brother animation films, Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1 is out. I have told you guys twice now how much I love this movie. I've been reading the trade, and I am amazed at how much is actually word for word what is written in the comic. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Just do this all the time. You don't need to Batman and Batgirl hook up. Don't do that. Just do what's in the comic. It'll work, honest, because people still talk about this story. They still talk about Killing Joke. They still talk about Nightfall. And it's not because we need to switch up something drastic and make it more relatable. No, the story works. Just do that. And I can't wait for Part 2 because there's nothing in that should be too outrageous for them to do. And I've always said that.
On what?
Yeah. Well, the death of Superman, that first part, because Jason's rocking his black shirt with Superman, that first installment was perfect. I mean, they changed up a few things, but it was still really, really, really good. The second one, I knew was going to be a little bit of trouble because there's so many elements to the reign of the Superman that is really hard to pull off. You can't introduce Mongol, have him break Coast City, because you need Hal Jordan there, who's a major part of that story, to go crazy. And the way they were setting up the universe, they couldn't do that. So they had to scrap that whole thing. And it just made it really hard to adapt that as faithfully as they did the first part. I don't think there's going to be a problem like that with Long Halloween. Gunnar, have you seen it yet?
I haven't. I plan on it. I can't wait to. From what it sounds like, they're doing it like they did Return.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns, where it was just like, the 1 and 2, where it was just, here's the comic, frame by frame, only animated, here you go. With a great voice actor here and there, right? If you'd have told me Peter Weller was on there beforehand, and way before it was on there, I would have been like, oh God, what the hell? He pulled the hell out of that off as old Bruce Wayne. He pulled it off.
Jensen Ackles is so good as Batman. I would love him to be Batman in a live-action DC movie. Because, within 2 more years, they're going to be done with Robert Pattinson and be like, we need to cast a new Batman. So I'm assuming that's going to be the case. But he's really good. He played Red Hood in Under the Red Hood. Now he graduated to the main Kyle. And so good as Batman. And the whole cast is really great. Josh Duhamel, who was in Jupiter's Legacy, comes back into the superhero world, and he's Two-Face, or Harvey Dent.
Oh, wow.
Really good. Billy Burke, who you may remember as the crooked husband in 24 that Kim babysat for. He's Commissioner Gordon. Wow. And cast is just dead on. It's like, oh, man, this is great. And I was worried, because I told you all this, that the Joker was going to overwhelm. Doesn't. He's in just the right amount of time. He's creepy, crazy, and just like he was in the comics. So I'm happy.
Nice.
Speaking of things that are not going to have me as happy, and then I probably won't see, and I am also shocked this movie is now its 7th installment. Transformers 7, Rise of the Beast. We will see the Maximals, the Predacons, and yes, the Terrorcons. I am terrified at how bad this is going to be. But are you guys excited about this? And
the CGI is going to be so crappy again, aren't they? Isn't? I mean, my gosh, they couldn't get cars right. You think they're going to get animals?
You know, they did it right.
Dinosaurs, they're not gonna get it right, man.
They got it right with Bumblebee. They decided they were like, it was like they were in the Wizard of Oz, where they were in black and white all this time. And they're like, whoa, color. And they discovered color. They could actually color the different Decepticons and Autobots more than just one stale, dark color. And It was like, yes, this is Transformers. Do this. I doubt they're going to do that with this. But if they do, it could work. Jace, you were in the Beast Wars a little bit more than I was, right?
It's funny, when you started listing all those like cons out, I'm like, I have no idea about any of those.
You know,
I have a vague memory of those.
Yeah. The Predacons I remember, but like the Mamma blah blah blah.
Maximals are from Beast Wars. And
yeah.
The Terrorcons, I'm pretty sure, formed Abominus.
No clue about any of that.
I have a vague memory of that, and that's probably when I stopped watching that crap. Seriously, I was like, I don't want any of these toys.
I think that's what it was. It's like we're when they started, that was probably our.
Who was this dude? After that, it was just I just watched the theme song because the new theme song was kind of tight. That's it. The rest of it, I was like,
I didn't mind Rodimus Prime, but one thing that really bothered me was the lack of Leonard Nimoy chewing Galvatron on the cartoon.
I know. Could you imagine if he was on there more?
Oh man.
Okay, that's I think all of us was like. We liked, was it Peter Cullen is Megatron, but then when they switched him to Galvatron, it was like, no, we cannot go from this to that. Like that was a big jump that kind of killed most of us. But then it was that second Transformer movie where we got Optimus back. That was like, okay, I'm done with the Transformers. It's been a nice ride, but
yeah,
I'm good. And I think when they hit, like I said, Beast Wars, it was like that was the way too out there, and it's like because you had 2 seasons of probably Rodimus Prime, and then it was like, okay, now you understand kind of what we shouldn't have done this, trying to correct it, but we do. You know,
that's what I said. I was like, talk about a movie. Yeah. Can we name a movie that killed a series franchise? Right? Like, come on. Like that should be a great show because that one, Transformers, is number 1.
Which one?
Transformers is number 1. Like, talk about a movie that killed that franchise was that first movie, and everybody was like, I don't want any of these toys. Just don't. I literally have none of the future toys. None.
They had Galvatron, Blur.
I had most
of them. Galvatron fine, but the other ones? Because Galvatron had, I mean, he was huge.
Springer.
I thought this was a cool jet. Like, his was cool. And then it couldn't have any of the Sharkticons because those things would have been.
Yeah, Springer.
Yeah, I definitely had.
Oh wait, I did have a Shark. Oh god, I did have a Sharkticon or whatever the hell it was.
The movie toys,
totally did.
Were toys, but it was a point where it was like, I'm not going to the next round because it was like, you were thinking I want to play out Transformers the movie with a different ending and starting point. You know, you love the movie, but you're like, yeah, we're not gonna have this whole transfer to Rodimus Prime. I think we're gonna have Galvatron versus Prime, and we're just gonna keep it moving.
Right.
Or we're gonna have Galvatron as a separate guy. We're gonna have him fight Ultra Magnus and Megatron fight Prime. And I think the Target Masters, where we had the little dudes who were the guns, was like, this is stupid. They've always had guns. Why do they need humans as guns? And then they had the Headmasters, where they lost their heads, and they were also people. I'm like,
oh my god, yeah. Oh wow.
Headmaster was stupid.
Block that out, dude. I seriously blocked all that crap out.
See, it wasn't the point. It was after that you're just like, this is too stupid to continue. I'm out. Yeah. We're not. We don't need G.I. Joes into the heads of Autobots.
No. And they were aliens too. It was like, why? And I think we had Scorponok, right? We had him too.
He's one. He's somebody. I don't know what he was, but yeah. I named him.
I don't know what the hell the writers were doing at that point, man. I don't know. I think they were all high and just throwing darts against the wall at the same time.
Yeah, it got a little wild. All right. 2 more quick things. Salma Hayek revealed on the Jada Pinkett Smith show that she was among the 4 finalists to play Trinity in The Matrix. I think that's really fascinating because you had. And they didn't mention who the 4th one was. I'm really curious to hear who that was. And we saw Jada Pinkett Smith later in The Matrix. She was alright. I mean, I don't know if it would have been. Oh man, that it would have been really funny.
The chemistry would have been worse.
I feel like it would. Well, I think
it would have been worse.
I think the chemistry.
Can you imagine Keanu Reeves and shit? I think
No,
that
but that's what I
chemistry
was
would have been
saying.
hella worse.
It could have been really crazy if they did if they cast Will Smith as Neo. If he stayed there, and then Jada Pinkett Smith was Trinity. And I think we would have been like, oh, that's cool. Jade is cool as Trinity. We would have been like, oh, man, she sucks. We would have been just like, oh, that's cool. And then they got married. Like, oh, that's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But Salma Hayek said the reason she did not go further in the audition process because she failed the physical. She said she was too lazy to do all the running around, and she didn't understand why that was so important to the role. And it was like, yeah. So that was why Carrie-Anne Moss.
She run around in like Dogma and all right, whatever.
She was running around in Desperado and doing all this stuff. Maybe she's tired of doing it, but
yeah.
Like,
although she's doing it with
Hitman's Bodyguard. So I mean, she's still doing it. So it's just really.
That was probably
you just didn't want to do it.
I mean, she said it. I mean, I think she probably was like, I don't see this being a franchise. I'll do it for it's probably like. If I got just for one movie in, I'll pass. Yeah,
that's funny. I wonder if passing on that is Will's biggest regret. Because I feel like he, of course, he's clearly had a great career. But I wonder if he's like, oh, man, I should have done that one.
He made Oscar movies after that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he was fun. Yeah. All right,
I think it's pretty good either.
Last thing. Netflix has a new show called Sexy Beast. People are going to wear these big prosthetics, get made up as animals in beasts. And they're going to go on blind dates. Well, not blind dates. They're going to go on dates as these manimals. So we're going to see a little preview of the Transformers Maximals here. And the purpose is to see if they can find real love, make a true connection, while not really knowing what each other looks like. Now, the prosthetics and the makeup for these beasts actually looks kind of cool. It's like, whoa, what's this? I think I'll watch it just to see what happens. But I know, Jace, you look very excited about this prospect. Gunnar, what do you think about this idea?
I feel like if I watch the first episode, I might get hooked. Just to see if the animal things don't freak me out. I'm not a good face makeup person. I don't like clowns. I don't like that shit, ever. I punched clowns when I was a kid because of it. Therefore, anybody with like the kind of prosthetic face makeup that looks freaky, I'm not gonna be cool with that. Like, I'm just like, unless it's like, the crappiest crap from the fair, you know what I mean? Like, otherwise, I'm like, nah, I ain't trying to deal with no Beauty and the Beast type makeup.
Wait, I'm saying that this was done back in 2014. All right, let's see if you can see from my screen here.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you. They look like they just took the makeup from, remember the show Beauty and the Beast, like the TV show? That's literally what it looks like. It looks like that dude, all of them. And Caitlyn Jenner.
No, it looks very much like the one with Kristen Kirk. And it's like,
that Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's funny. When you said, like...
Little Kim, yeah.
Sounds ridiculous. Then I'm like, all right, let's see. Because, I mean, I watched Love is Blind. I probably, when the second season comes out, I'm going to watch that too. And I'm like, okay, is it similar? But then it's like, it's just kind of a weird twist. It sounds stupid. But I could easily get hooked on it.
Yeah. Like, if the first episode's good, I think they're good. A lot of people watch it.
Right.
The first
that makes there,
yeah.
Not a chance.
That's how they got me with Naked Dating. That's how VH1 got me with Naked Dating. I was like, this is dumb. And I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. And I just forgot they were naked.
Exactly.
And then 3 episodes in, I just forget they're naked because they're blurred, except for the butts. Well, depending on the time you watch it. Remember that after a certain time, they can not blur, but they don't have to blur butts.
Spicy. So, last but not least, we got the Olympics coming out, and I'm really still annoyed at NBC because they just refused to change the logo to 2021. They're like, the Olympics, 2022, 2020. Like, how to be a lady. But they're going to have a special show on the Peacock Network, which I think is actually something to make people tune in to Peacock. They're going to have Kevin Hart, and Snoop Dogg recap the Olympics every night.
And that's
Thank you.
Bob Costas. Not gonna lie, that might actually be must-watch TV.
Yeah, maybe they'll call in Leslie Jones, have her show up every so often. I think that could work.
Oh my God.
That may have me look to find where Peacock is.
Yeah, that
thank
is.
you.
No, see, you say that. I mean, like, if Kevin Hart just plays if he just normal
There's no
human
hope.
being, Snoop, I'm thinking that could be like end of the day, after the swim-in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that could be kind of interesting. That could be fun.
And he's doing it for white audiences as well.
Huh?
He acts different with black audiences and white audiences. He's now in the white famous piece now, so it's not going to be pretty.
Well, Snoop is there.
Snoop is going to be Snoop, but he'll ground the whole thing. But Kev is going to go a little bit over the top. And if Leslie Jones does come through, I hope you're kidding. It's over. It's done.
She's a super fan in the Olympics, so she would get excited kind of all of us when we see like the great athletic performances. Like she's actually that's the one time.
I feel like we're gonna see some Bamboozle type performances from that. Like I feel like we're gonna see some ooh-wees and ooh-ahs and all that chicken Georgian.
She's genuinely excited. She doesn't act coonish about it. She's just like, oh man, this is so cool. So,
no, I'm not talking about Olympics. I'm talking about in general. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not going to go to Peacock. However, it might show up on demand or something on Sling, because you know how Sling be getting some stuff here and there.
Oh, there you
go. I'll watch it on there if need be and just critique it.
There you go.
Still not chasing after Peacock.
I really need them to come up with a better name for that. I mean, I get it, but it's like, I feel weird saying it. All right. Fellas.
If it came out back in the day, they'd be like, oh, this goes with Spice then.
Nah, there have been no sensitivity whatsoever with it then. Fellas, it is that magical time of the night. Do you have any nominees for Dummies this week? Well, brother, I know you're all queued up and ready to go. What you
got? I'm going to choose to say I have no Dummies of the week this week.
Okay, I've got one. Mine is Kenya Barris. And if you hadn't heard, he's walked away from his $100 million deal with Netflix to form a partnership with BET to launch BET Studios. And Barnes is going to have an equity stake and serve as a board member. Talk with The Hollywood Reporter, Barris said, I just don't know that my voice is Netflix voice. The stuff I want to do is a little bit more edgy, a little bit more highbrow, a little more heady, and I think Netflix wants down the middle. Netflix became CBS. I don't know if you've seen Black AF. That was not lowbrow. It was sort of lowbrow. It wasn't funny. Let's start with that. I mean, they had some funny moments in 8 episodes, but certainly not enough to be like, oh, you need to watch it.
I didn't even make it through 8.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, yeah,
like I'm good.
It's on. Maybe I'll watch it. But you have to choose to watch stuff on Netflix. Like, he can't complain that, oh, they were holding me back. Because, I mean, he was cursing at his kids. Kids were cursing at him. I mean, it was not something you'd see on network TV. And it certainly didn't feel like, oh, man, this would be funny if only it were edgier. Or if he had, more stuff on it, where he got to really speak his truth. The whole joint was about that. I mean, episodes are called, this one is because of slavery. This one's about slavery, too.
Black AF was always the title. I don't see any reason he would need to, other than, hey, maybe BET can throw him some more money, but I don't know. I question that even if that's accurate. I don't know. It's like, if you go any edgier than Black AF, I don't know if that's actually watchable.
Yeah.
Edgier? That was barely edgier. That was scratching the surface, dude. Like, there were some deep conversations that decidedly didn't go as deep as it could be because of who he is, right? I know a lot of raccoons like to travel in packs and go to trash cans together. So, yeah. That's my opinion on that one.
I just thought it was weird. Like, dude, make your stuff better. Don't say that.
Right. Don't blame it on. I mean, I don't know. You've seen some crazy stuff on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you really can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Period.
Sky's the limit.
It was fired. It was like he walked away from an idea. It's like, did you try to push the envelope? I mean, like.
No, I know exactly why he walked away. Because he wanted the audience for his crap. And the audience for that kind of crap isn't the Netflix audience all the time. It's going to be the BET audience, like Tyler Perry. He wants the Tyler Perry money. This is the other reason why I stopped at episode 5 or whatever the hell that was, because I could see this coming.
When you had Tyler Perry on?
Yep. I was like, I could see this coming, and I was like, see, yeah, they're incongruent, and that's what happened.
Gunner,
Sorry.
You have a nominee?
Somebody worse, if you can believe it. No, I'm kidding. Actually, he is not worse than this guy, but because I admire, because he loves the kids. But he apparently doesn't love Beyonce. Trick Daddy.
I was
An idiot. He's a dummy only because he decided to beat a hornet's or bee's nest, beehive. See what I did there? He decided to knock a hornet's nest here and there, telling everybody that Beyonce can't sing. When she can, she just chooses not to anymore because she doesn't have to. Jay-Z doesn't have to be hungry anymore. Beyonce doesn't have to be hungry anymore. But if you ask her to sing the national anthem, guess what's going to happen? If you ask her to sing the Black national anthem, guess what's going to happen? If you ask her to actually sing, she's going to do it. She just doesn't need to do it on records all the time. She can just go out there and perform and sing her old stuff, and she could still sing her old stuff.
Yeah.
Well.
And like Lemonade.
Perhaps he confused her with Alicia Keys. I don't know. But...
I honestly, that was like kind of like his probably was like, you know, she can't sing because she doesn't sing. It's like, I mean, hey, it's like, dude, you no, it's like I know she knows how to make money now. Like she doesn't need to have the Whitney Houston great vocals on every track. She's like, I know what these kids like. I'm good. I can sing the same hook 5 times. They'll love it, eat it up. I'm good.
Exactly. She sings so well that people let her get away with singing Frankie Beverly May's song. I didn't let her get away with it. I'm good. I'm just saying the world was like, all right, you all right, this is Beyonce though. Alicia Keys tried to do that, please. There would be no career for her. But with Trick Daddy, I'm sitting here like I ain't seen an album.
Yeah,
I don't remember the last time I saw it. Was I able to drink the last time you had an album out? Like I just don't remember. Like seriously. So, first of all, if you're saying she can't sing because she won't sing, I'm sorry, she can't sing because she won't sing, look at you. You ain't rapping for nothing. You don't even love the kids. What are you doing for the kids now? You ain't doing nothing. Ain't no Tang, ain't no Orange, nothing. What's happening? So, I feel like Trick Daddy played himself. He tricked himself, and now he's reaping the consequences of dealing with whatever. Yes. Of people not buying his albums that he's not putting out.
Correct. Also, good news, guys. We've been able to collaborate with some partners. We're going to launch a very special Kickstarter next week. We're going to collect some funds to provide condoms for One Nick Cannon. We're very excited about that. And, looking forward to it. So
I believe if our other 2 castmates were on, I swear to goodness, one of them would have picked that spraying Bama. I'm sitting here like, holy crap. Like, this dude is sitting here like Ego from freaking Guardians 2. Like, he's just like, spread my seed across the planet, across the galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this dude's going to have a 3-baby summer. Like, I'm sorry, that's just crazy. Like,
that's not a good thing. I mean, I guess if you're rich and you're good and whatever, but come on, man, this ain't, like, you're not even being safe out here, man. Like,
they don't call
out here in these streets.
He's blasting the whole world. Not getting his swimming pool, ladies.
Nah, yeah. All right, well, fellas, thank you as always for rolling with me. Thank you all out there for listening. This episode of Loud's Movie Files has been filed.